John Travis. Welcome back to the Johnstown and Gerryville Railroad. I say welcome back because we did a similar film last year. This film is a follow-up to that, and what we're going to do is show the operation of the railroad. The whole idea of operation of a model railroad simulates the way the railroad might have operated if it had been real. This makes the model come to life. To give the operation some guidelines, we have paperwork on the J&G. The primary working papers consist of, first, the order of appearance of trains. This is our version of the schedule. It's used by the dispatcher to know what trains will run, where they will originate, and what they do. The yard lineup. This is used by the yard master so he can determine what needs to be done to each train that passes through the yard. The train crew needs guidelines on running their train. On the J&G we have a train card which shows the information needed to run the train, a caboose card. Not all trains have a caboose, but when it does, there's a card is included in the packet, and the engine card, which specifies which engine is assigned to your train, and if you have more than one engine, then you have more than one card. We use throttles to run an engine. Much of the engine information is on the engine card for the throttle. Signing up for a train is done on the schedule board. The engineer signs his name on the next train, picks up the train cards, and notes the scheduled departure time and gets ready to run. Like many model railroads, we use a fast clock to schedule our trains. We run at 4 to 1, which is 4 scale minutes to 1 real minute. To begin running a train, the crew uses one of the phones to contact the dispatcher. The dispatcher will route the train and give the crew a signal when they're authorized to depart.
J&J 302, request permission to leave Praga, move on to the Atlas main line to Central Train.
J&J 302, you have permission to enter the main line at Praga. Let me know when you have your train together and ready to leave.
Enough of that. Let's run trains.
During the summer of 1953, coal train J&G 302 operates from Richard Coal Mine at Trauger to the power plant at South Johnstown with an intermediate stop at Johnstown Yard. Due to the short side tracks at the mine, the 302 must pick up half the cars, pull onto the main track, then back up to pick up the rest of the train.
J&J 302 is ready to depart for Johnstown.
J&J 302, you have permission to proceed on green indication only.
After receiving confirmation from the dispatcher that the main track is clear, the engineer throttles up and the coal train begins its journey. 302 slows as it carefully moves through Key Lake Station, a favorite destination for those who enjoy swimming, boating, and Bill Haley and the Comets. At Blairsville, the train awaits a clear signal as the local commuter train J&G 112 is given the right-of-way to Key Lake Station with a full load of happy travelers. Sharing the main rail in this fashion allows the J&G to function at a high efficiency and cost savings level. Passengers enjoy the beauty of Pennsylvania as they pass the waterfalls and the lake just before they arrive at the station. The dispatcher gives the clear signal, and 302 is on the move again. Prior to arrival at Johnstown Yard, the dispatcher notifies the yardmaster of 302's arrival.
Yardmaster, this is dispatcher. J&G 302 is coming into Johnstown. Where do you want me to put him at?
Bring him on main 2.
The yardmaster instructs the yard crew on what needs to be done and tells 302 what it needs to do next.
Jim, if you'd move your engine over to caboose track. Mike, you can pull on in. Pull down until I tell you to stop.
Okay.
The Alco RS1 creeps through the yard on the arrival departure track. Just before the train stops, the roundhouse comes into view.
Okay, Jim, go ahead and pull the caboose and stick him on the caboose track.
Delivering freight to the proper locations requires the yard crew to switch tracks continually to build the train in the proper sequence. This yard crew will pull 4 full cars for another train and pick up 4 empties to be returned to the coal mine.
Okay, we're going to pick these 4 cars up and drop them on yard 2 over there.
With directions from the yard master, the yard crew gets busy breaking up the train.
Jim, after you drop these off, if you push the 4 empties down on the tail end, we're going to get the caboose.
The yard crew next focuses on pushing the 4 pickups onto the train.
Mike, you're ready to go. If you'll pull down to Gandon and wait on a signal.
Okay.
With the caboose back on the tail end, the yardmaster notifies the dispatcher that 302 is now ready and will exit at Gandon. Here in Gandon, 302 is again told to stop and yield the main track to a freight train. To pull this size train, an EMD SD7 must be utilized. Note that the engine is almost twice the size of the 302. Protocol on the railroad requires that superior trains have the right-of-way over inferior trains. In this instance, the 14-car freight train is the superior train and the 302 must yield.
Dispatcher, this is Johnstown Yard. I have train J&G 302 ready to depart Johnstown for South Johnstown at Gandon.
Yardmaster J&G 302 has permission to leave Johnstown upon signal indication.
Once the signal has been received, 302 begins its run over to Volker. This segment of the journey takes the train through the warehouse section, where we see customers of the J&G creating their products, which soon will be shipped by rail. Then it's on to a typical neighborhood of 1953. Just past Joe's Diner, 3-2 again waits. Again. This time it's a passenger train coming down from Lost Mountain. This train is pulled by an EMD E8, used greatly by all railroads for long-distance runs, such as the East to West Coast run of the New York Zephyr. With the main now clear, 302 proceeds down the slope into South Johnstown. The empty cars and caboose are left on the hill just outside the town. A handbrake keeps the cars from rolling any further once uncoupled. To get the cars in the proper orientation for pushing into Gandon generating number 1, the engineer must perform a maneuver known as a runaround. A runaround consists of relocating the engine to the opposite end of the train. Doing so allows the engineer to push or pull cars, depending on the job. There is a great deal of track changing and forward and backward movement. Rail switches are thrown to allow the engine to change tracks at least 2 times, ending with the 302 coupling with the loaded cars and pushing them into the power plant for unloading. Three cars are emptied. Now the engineer must pull the empty cars out of the unloading area and push them to the side track. While the 302 performs numerous runarounds and pushes, elsewhere on the J&G Railroad, other trains are in action. Back at Johnstown, the J&G 121 chugs into the station to drop off passengers and mail, and then assemble a new train. The engine pulling the 121 is a Mikado 282, which was the workhorse of the railroad industry until diesel power. The yardmaster and the engineer work closely together to ensure safe operation and proper train configuration.
Okay, Milt, let's make a cut third car from the hind end and drop off the RPO on the siding, pick up the other one.
Classifications of steam locomotives defines the 282 wheel arrangement. 2 leading wheels on the front end of the engine, 8 powered and coupled driving wheels, and 2 trailing wheels. Once the 121 is properly assembled, the yardmaster, dispatcher, engineer communication process begins again, and the 121 is cleared to proceed to its next destination.
Yardmaster, Pensy train 121 is ready to depart the yard.
Dispatcher, this is Johnstown. 121 is ready to depart Johnstown.
Yardmaster, Pensy 121 has permission to leave Johnstown upon signal indication.
Meanwhile, in the South Johnstown Yard, 302 has completed dropping off its load of coal and has rebuilt the train for the return trip to Richard Mine No. 3 at Trauger. With the train built, the engineer calls the dispatcher to get permission to back onto the main track.
Dispatchers 302, ready to leave South Johnstown, heading for Trauger via Lost Mountain.
J&G 302, you have permission to back out of South Johnstown onto the siding, waiting on signal at Volker.
10-4.
Once on the main, the train waits for the clear signal at the Volker siding. The empty car coal train, now tagged as JNG 301 to reflect a new mission and destination, will use the Lost Mountain route to return to the coal mine. Once a clear signal is received from dispatch, the 301 enters Volker Tunnel and proceeds up Lost Mountain. After reaching the top of this challenging climb, the train exits the tunnel near Butler Junction. On the way to Trauger, 301 passes a small oil facility, a farm with its authentic windmill, and rolls through more beautiful Pennsylvania countryside. As 301 exits the tunnel, it arrives where it started, at the coal mine in Trauger. Here the train must be broken in half again to fit onto those short mine tracks. Thousands of tons of freight have been moved to key locations, and hundreds of people have been transported to and from their destinations, all made possible by the silver rails of the Johnstown and Gerryville Railroad.
Hey, John, I will just take closing